I am so excited you're here with me today. You know, your time is the most precious, non-renewable resource, and you had decided to spend it with me. So let's get to the chase. What are we going to do today? We're going to learn how to beef up your homeschooling, meaning how to make it better, easier, effective, and faster so you don't need to start all over each day. And as a thank you for you trusting in me, at the end, you will receive some bonuses. So stay till the end to scan a QR code to some exclusive content that I'll share with you in a minute. So what we're going to cover today, we're going to learn how to beef up, not this beef, a different beef. So I had created a beef framework where we're going to learn to find clarity to make your homeschooling better without necessarily adding more to your plate. You're going to learn to make your life easier by systemizing your process and clearing the clutter, both physical and mental. You also will learn how to make learning effective without waiting to get it right. And finally, we're going to learn how to catapult your process, that is making it faster by catching momentum. So I made this visual framework for you so it's easy to follow. B for better, E for easier, and E for effective, F for faster. So if you are a visual gal like me, I hope this is helpful, but I will guide you through each step. But you can take a screenshot of this if you will find it helpful. Now, B, better. How can we leverage and make it better? Because better is like abstract word. Better for whom? What does better mean? Better meaning by doing things more easy, effectively. So it kind of encompasses the entire framework. But I want you to understand one thing, that to do something better does not necessarily mean that we have to add more to the plate. So clarity always beats effort. If you're multitasking, come back to me. So think of a tree growing in the wild, let's say an apple tree. If it produces a lot of leaves, right? So we have this beautiful, lush green tree. How much fruit does it bear? Almost none. So what do farmers do? Or if we have an orchard, we prune the tree, meaning we cut those leaves out, which seems counterintuitive. Like, why the heck would you be cutting the leaves? Aren't they, the heart of the photosynthesis that makes food for the tree? Yes, it's true. But by cutting what's unnecessary, the tree is able to take all its energy and put into the fruit. So this is exactly what we're going to do with your homeschooling process. We're going to cut what's not necessary so you can focus your energy on what is. Now, when we talk about ease, how can we make it easier? By creating systems that work. You see, ease comes from preparation, not pressure. When you have less to manage, you have more peace. Are you with me so far? So think about it. You want to make a meal. You come to the kitchen and your counter is full of toys and yesterday's dishes and some stuff from last week's craft. Can you make your dinner easily? Of course not. So what do you have to do? You have to clear the counter. So think of it of clearing your closet. We want to declutter what no longer serves you or your child's needs so that you can actually see what's in there. I have a closet like that. I open it, I get so overwhelmed, I close it because there is so much stuff and I don't have an energy to go through that, but I know I have to. So by getting rid of what's no longer serving you, you can actually see what's there. And by implementing systems, you can get from point A to point B easier. Now, what do I mean when I say more effective? We want to make learning more effective for your child. So think about when your child was learning to ride a bike. Hey, you can watch all the YouTube videos and you can read 5 books on how to ride a bike until you get on that bike and start pedaling. Are you going to learn how to ride it? Heck no. So effective learning means you have to take action without waiting for perfection. Or somehow, like at some point, you're going to know enough that you can try. No, 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 no. Engagement is what counts. And finally, for faster, you're going to catch momentum. Because consistency means you don't start from zero each time. Okay, are you with me so far? Let me know in the chat. And please silence your phone notification, other distractions, because I know how it goes. I'm going to deliver so much value to you today that I needed to be present so that you can take what you need from this masterclass. We're going to learn how to DST. You're going to learn the BEEF framework. You're going to learn how to gig. And at the end of the masterclass, I have a very special bonus for you, my go-to recipe playbook. So you might see me like this in a circle or full screen when I need to hone in on a particular skill, or I just need to get your attention. And this is, okay, pointing in at there. This is the play recipe guide that you will get at the end of the masterclass as a thank you for being here with me and trusting the process. And I'm going to throw in another bonus. If you have a little one, which I assume you have, right? We're beefing your homeschooling. So who would you homeschool if you don't have a kid? Well, I assume you do. And what kid doesn't like colors? So it's another bonus you're going to scan at the end of the masterclass as a thank you for staying with me. And since Valentine's is in the air, I made this exclusive Valentine's playbook just for you. Again, you gotta stay till the end to claim it. Now, also, I don't want it to be a monologue, like I'm talking to myself. I want to speak with you, so you have a chat box. So I want you to stay engaged. If I tell you comment, you comment. If I ask you where you're from, you tell me where you're from. So the one who's most engaged in the comments is going to win coffee on me from Starbucks. And I know you barely can do anything under $5, so $10 Starbucks gift card is on me. But you have to stay active in the comments. If you are watching not directly from YouTube, you gotta click refresh the page so that the masterclass is live, and then you gotta click watch on YouTube, and that's how you can join in the comments. So why won't you let me know what is your name and where are you tuning from? So it might be a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. You should have downloaded the guide, right? The workbook that I had made for you so you can follow along, which it's okay if you didn't. Just let me know in the chat who out of these four are you currently relating to. So let's go one by one. Do you feel overwhelmed? Like it's just so much noise. You feel yourself like you're drowning in a sea of social media and you can't even see the shores and just too much. Let me know. Overwhelmed ideally, or just drop that emoji. Do you feel like lost Lucy? You can just drop Lucy in the chat below. Yeah, you want to homeschool, early years are the most important pivotal period in your child's life, but you just don't know where to start. Drop Lucy if that resonates with you. Or are you just tired? I know I've been there, especially with my first one, actually with my second one too, especially when they're young. And if you're breastfeeding and they're not sleeping regularly, hey, Adrian was not sleeping through the night till I think he was like 3. So it was like on-demand breastfeeding till he was 2. I think it was up like every 2 hours for 24 plus months during his childbearing, which is a lot. So I totally can relate if you feel tired. And I know when we have mental fatigue that comes from physical exhaustion, how hard it is. So if you are tired, I'm holding space for you in my heart because I know how it feels. Or do you feel like no matter how hard you try, you're kind of stuck in this, you're not going backwards, but you're really not going forward either. So let me know in the comments if you feel like you are stagnant Stacy. So either mark your guide or let me know in the chat. Overwhelmed Adelia, lost Lucy, tired Teddy, or do you feel like stagnant Stacy? Now, if you have any questions, just drop in the chat question and write your question. I'll try to answer them at the end of our masterclass. Now, a little bit about me, unless we had met before, but if we have not, welcome, welcome. I'm Anya, and the top picture is me. I was about 6, and if you have heard this story, forgive me, but I'll tell it again anyway. Right about that age, I remember standing in a sandbox. I was growing up in Eastern European country during the turmoil of the geopolitical Cold War in one of the former Soviet Union republics. I can't even pronounce it. And I remember standing in a sandbox and declaring to my best friend, I said, when I grow up, I will be an attorney and I will be living in New York City. I have another story why I chose New York City, but I'll save it for another time. And I don't know where that courage came from, but I just think we as children have these audacious dreams. Because you know what? Dreams are free. So why not dream in full color? So if there is one thing I want you to take from this so far, I want you to learn to dream big, just like when you were a kid. Because guess what? What if that dream comes true? Because back then, that dream seemed absolutely irrational, implausible, and absolutely unachievable because the borders were closed. It was Cold War. There were no prospects of me immigrating anywhere and becoming an attorney when we had a total patriarchy. So my chances were like 0 to none. And still, it did not prevent me from dreaming big. And my friend looked at me. She thought I said like, I'm moving to Mars or something. She's like, yeah, okay. Guess what? Fast forward 11 years and I was on that plane flying to JFK. And I'll never forget looking at my passport and looking at my visa and said, wow, that dream seemed totally impossible. But now here I am. So dream big, my friend. Dreams are free. So dream in big color. Make them as audacious, as crazy as possible. So then I had married my husband, my sweetheart, and we had 2 children. But there's a story with Julia. You see her right there with the knobless cylinders. So we did not have a separate room allocated for her homeschooling. So guess what I did? I turned our deck. We had an enclosed deck in an apartment. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. I turned it into a Montessori corner. So the point is, you don't need to get fancy. You need to get resourceful. And this is my second one, Adrian. As you can see, it's the same year. So when he was born, I went full steam ahead. He was the Montessori child from the start. So he slept on a floor mattress. He had a play mat, as you can see. We had tactile, visual, mobiles, all those stuffs. Drinking breast milk from a teeny tiny glass cup when he was barely sitting. So that's my story. Now the current life, now I happily settled in New Jersey in the United States, unless you knew that already. And we're avid Disney fans. It's somehow the experience is always different and it's always magical. So, you know, with Disney, you either love it or you hate it. So if you are a Disney fan, let me know here in the chat and you can relate. If not, we'll skip to the next slide. And this is my little office. This is where I'm filming. This is where I do all my YouTube filming, my podcast. You cannot see the microphone here. And also we love to travel because my family still lives in Europe. So this summer we actually visited my sister, Rome. So all the fun stuff. So that's what I do in between working and filming and doing masterclasses. And if you are not following me yet on Instagram, You can scan this code. Hey, just shoot me a DM. Say, hey, I attended your masterclass and this is what I learned. I would love to connect with you. And better yet, let's take a selfie. So just turn your phone around. I'll smile. Okay, all ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. And post it on your social or tag me in stories. And guess what? I'll repost it to mine. And win-win. You'll have 600 plus thousand eyeballs on your account. So I would love to connect. Just shoot me a DM, say I had watched your masterclass, and this is what I remember. Hopefully more than one thing, right? So what we're gonna cover today, we're gonna cover 5 common mistakes. We're gonna cover 5 common challenges. We're gonna talk about mindset shifts, because remember, mindset is 80% and your action is only 20. So if we can rewire our self-talk, usually it's not positive, we can catapult our results. And finally, of course, I'm going to give you shortcuts to success. Now, let's start with 5 homeschooling mistakes. And this is just a brief overview. We try to mimic traditional schools, right? Because everybody does it, so we should do it too. We tend to overload our schedule because we think that more is better. We totally ignore into oblivion our child's individual needs or learning styles or interests or inclinations. And we lack consistency. We get enthusiastic and one day, I'm doing it, this whole homeschooling. And the next day we're like, what am I doing? You know why? Because you don't have a plan. Well, I'll help you with that. And finally, I think in the hustle and bustle of life, we forget that you, me, the mom, she does not dissipate in the motherhood. She's still there and she needs to take care of herself first. So I'll cover them briefly. And then of course, I'm going to give you practical solutions, how we can tackle each. So maybe in traditional school. So think of this analogy. You try to fit a square peg into a round hole. How good is it going to fit? Not really, right? So the traditional school system was designed to do just that. Actually, the onset of it was started by none other than John F. Rockefeller. And guess what he said? I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. Yikes. So, and our system was designed to do just that. If you think those desks in a row at random or the bell system, no. Our educational system was designed to raise workers who obey, who follow law. We stifle their creativity so they don't start questioning things and go on their own. So, right, we need obedience, we need compliance, and we need them to follow the rules. Sit still, don't move, don't ask questions. God forbid. So when you try to mimic that system in your home, you're going to create havoc. So what you have to do is to look at your situation as a blessing. Say, hey, I have this luxury and freedom that my child does not need to sit at the desk for 45 minutes, unable to go to the bathroom when they have a physical need, or that they cannot have a snack when they're hungry. So you have this flexibility to adapt, and breaks can be structured in your routine. Unstructured play can be structured in your routine. So I'm not saying total chaos and lack of any follow through or structure, but I'm just saying that what's really important to a child, gross motor breaks, food breaks, snack breaks, bathroom breaks, all that can be incorporated. And we have to take into account that the attention span of a child is about 2 minutes per age. So if you're dealing with a 4-year-old, the attention span is about 8 minutes. So now, I want you to think, like you remember when I got resourceful and just got few low shelves. I literally went to Bed Bath and got some low shelves. They were like similar to the top one right here, and put them on my deck. So I just had two next to each other. Remember, when you're setting up the space, you are not recreating a traditional school or a Montessori school. You don't need to. They outgrow this stuff way too fast. All you need is one shelf, and make that shelf be larger than taller. Why? Because accessibility is the key. You want the shelf not to be higher than your child's height, because we want the shelf to be accessible, because we want to foster independence. And make sure the shelf is open. Like, don't put containers that the child does not see what's in there. Now, what else do we tend to do? Mistake number 2. We tend to overload the schedule. So think of your homeschooling as a wagon. So as you pile so much on it, how fast would your wagon go? Not really fast. So by simplifying, we're going to remove what's not necessary, what's not serving your child. We're going to simplify, and your wagon's going to go much faster and much smoother. How can we do it? Well, first of all, I'm inviting you to join my MCAP, Monthly Kids Activities Plan. This is where I eliminate all the decision process. I take all those bags from your wagon and I say, here, I did all the prepping, all the thinking for you, and I'm gonna hand you a solution. You literally get a sheet like this that you can print and pin to your fridge, and you know exactly what to do each day. And can I mention, each day we focus on one core area of your child's development. We're not doing 5 things at once. We're not doing 10 things at once. It's one activity. So if you can focus on one core competency level of your child, you can leverage the progress so much faster. Because when you add too much, you overwhelm yourself and you overwhelm your child. Do you remember that attention span? 2 minutes per child's age. Now, mistake number 3, we ignore their individual learning styles. So think of it as if you're giving the same shoe to each child, regardless of their size. And sadly, this is what our educational system is doing right now. It's one size fits all approach. So what can you do? I want you to pay attention. Is your child auditory? Do they light up when they hear music or your voice? Or are they visual? Do they like drawing or doodling? Or they love picture books? Are they kinesthetic, meaning they love to utilize multiple senses to absorb the subject? Or are they tactile learners, like they would need constantly to touch something or to taste or put it in their mouth? So observe how your child interacts with the world, and this is how they absorb the environment, and then tailor that activity based on their individual need. So for example, if you are learning about frogs and your child is an auditory learner, you're going to find a song about frogs or an audiobook about frogs, or you're going to read out loud. You're not going to start with Montessori 3 parts matching cards, because that visual learning is not their skill. So this is what I mean by tailoring your learning to your child's individual needs. Now, why do we lack consistency? We get excited and then life gets in the way. You know, the laundry, the dirty dishes, the appointments, the projects. So think of a bridge. When you lay a plank at a time, it might seem like, oh my God, it's a long and arduous journey, right? You just lay 2 planks. How can you get to the other side? But if you do it consistently, one day at a time, 1 plank at a time, eventually you're going to build that bridge, and it's going to be sturdy and dependable, and it's going to get you from point A to point B. And this is where I want to iterate. We want progress over perfection. Don't wait to be ready, because readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. You decide to act before you're ready. Because all it is required for you to do anything in life, whether it is to ask your boss for a flexible schedule, say, hey, I have a little one at home, and I know 0 to 6 are the most pivotal, transformative, important years of my child's life. I need some flexibility. So can we reduce my time, or let's say give me Wednesdays, Thursdays, half day that I can work from home? All you need to make that change, you need courage. You see, courage comes before confidence. Okay, moving on to mistake number 5, our last one. We neglect self-care. So somehow when children are born, and I know I was guilty as charged, I totally melted into the motherhood. It's like I did not exist. Everything was first for my daughter and then for my son. So I gave up all social connections. I think I went a little too extreme, but nobody told me right back then that I cannot pour from an empty cup. And that's like this with any relationship. You have to fill your cup first before you can give to others. And it can be as little as committing to waking up 10 minutes before your child wakes up, if they're on a semi-predictable schedule, and saying, I'm going to take 5 minutes to myself because I matter. For me, it's breath work, and I do it outside. It can be meditating. It can be listening to something relaxing, or stretching on a yoga mat, or journaling, or drinking that coffee hot. You know, when the kids are up, like you have to reheat it like 5 times because as soon as you take a sip, you have to go do something else. So think of little things that can start up your day by saying, I matter. And if I'm happy and regulated, I can give so much more to my children, versus if I'm irritated and I didn't get to this, and my coffee is cold again, and I didn't get to stretch and my back is aching. Remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Now we are moving to challenges. So what are the 5 homeschooling challenges? Information overload, overwhelm, imposter syndrome, time constraints, and perfectionism. So let's tackle them one by one. What I mean by information overload. We have the onset of information, AI overload, virtual avatars, free stuff, being poured at you from every single direction. What's happening internally? When we have too much to choose from, we don't decide at all. So you know what they say? 1, 2, 3, too many. And it's a survival mechanism, because our brain was designed for survival. And its number one priority is to preserve energy. In case a lion jumps at you, you'll have that energy to run. Each decision requires mental energy. And the more you decide, the more mental energy you burn. So when you are overwhelmed, you know what your brain does? It shuts down. It says, nada, that's it. I am not making a decision. And because that was the number one concern of homeschooling families I had coached and spoke with, that's exactly why I created the monthly kids activities plan. So it's a very clear voyage success path, where you plan with purpose. How? Because I do all the planning for you, so you don't even need to do anything. So you guess what? You do less planning and more playing with your child. You find your crew, because you know what? You can find information. There is so much information. You actually don't need more information. We need less. But you know what you need? Nobody is following through with anything. And do you know how you would follow through? By finding a community, a crew, an accountability body it's going to say, hey, what's going on? Are you showing up today? What are you doing today with your kid? How's it going? What did you do yesterday? It's like my daughter. She wanted to run a 6-minute mile. So of course she can ask ChatGPT, say, hey, how can I run 6-minute mile? ChatGPT is going to give her a whole plan. She had it all written down. Do you think she followed through? No. That's why we get coaches at the gym. That's why we get mentors. That's why she would need to get a running buddy who would call her at 6 a.m. say, hey, Julia, are you up? Are we going for a run? Information alone will not give you transformation. And if you're multitasking, come back to me. Information is not same, does not equate to transformation. In order to make knowledge with just the potential power, a true power, you need to turn that knowledge into action, into application. And that is exactly what we do in our community. And I also want you to keep in mind that free does not mean quality. I get about maybe 150 emails with free stuff. Oops. Sorry about that. First of all, there is no consistency. You don't know where that information is coming from, right? We don't know the source. Just because it's free doesn't mean it is quality. So think of this analogy as a hand-me-down closet, right? It seems full, like, oh my God, you have so much stuff, but you pick one piece of clothing, it doesn't even fit. You pick another one, oh my God, it has holes here. You pick a third one, your child is like, I'm not wearing that. So just because it's free doesn't mean it's gonna serve your child. And you know what? It's more for you to print, to laminate. I was guilty as charged when I started homeschooling. I thought free was the thing. So I had printed every single free resource available back then. Back then it was maybe, I'm talking about 15 years ago, maybe it was 20 resources that were offered for free. And I would print them and laminate them. Ask me if my child had any interest in any of them. Zero. So there's still somewhere in a folder laminated and not used. So remember, free does not mean quality. I'm not saying that you cannot get a quality free resource, but one does not mean the other, right? So you're with me. So if you are choosing free resource, make sure that it's somebody trustworthy, that you have followed alone and there is credibility and you know that they consistently produce high quality results. Otherwise, you're gonna end up with that closet full of what? Hand-me-down clothing. So we touched base on this already, you know, the YouTubes and printables and free apps. Oh my God. And remember, right? What does your brain do when it's too much? It shuts down. 1, 2, 3, too many. I'm not making a decision. You know what? I'm going to preserve your energy in case the line attacks. Because guys, your brain does not know that those lines don't exist anymore. So your brain perceives threat the same way. But right now, what are our lines? Information overload, or projects, or deadlines, or stress at work, or stress at your kindergarten. But your brain's main goal is what? To keep you safe. And how it's going to do it? We covered one. It's going to preserve your energy, your mental energy, because the harder you think, the more energy you consume. Have you ever taken a test? Nothing physical, you sit, just fill out, and then you feel exhausted, like you've been carrying bricks for like 3 hours. Can I get an amen? Can you relate? I do. I took a bar exam and exactly how it feels. So mental energy is extremely exhausting. So when we have information overload, what does your brain do? Done. I'm checking out. So information overload causes analysis paralysis. We don't make a decision at all. We throw in a towel before we even start. And number one culprit is this oversupply. 2 billion users just on Instagram. Okay, I'm not mentioning Facebook. I mean, even your grandma is on Facebook, right? Posting. So supply is skyrocketing through the roof. And what's happening with your demand. You have just a finite amount of time and energy you can devote to your child. So the more, you don't need more printables, more activities, more YouTube tutorials. You need clarity so you can actually focus and spend time with your child. So be very conscious of it. And every day we have hundreds of thousands new users who are bombarding us with the next new thing you should do. So how can we simplify, make our process easier with tackling now the 2 E's and more effective? Pick one platform. Trust me, you don't have time for all. So if you're a Facebook gal, okay, stick to Facebook. Instagram is your thing, stick to Instagram. But honestly, my goal for my community is to get you off all those platforms and only keep you engaged in one private community that is there to cheer you on, that is there to support you, that is there to say, hey, how are you? Really? So for now, you're just picking one platform. And once you picked one platform, look who you follow. Unfollow. I went through such purge. Just unfollow anybody who is not serving you, the deeper you. Anybody who makes you feel less. Anybody who makes you feel insecure, like you're not enough, or like, why the heck don't you have a white house with a white couch and a white rug? Please tell me how they can maintain that whiteness with 5 kids. It's mystery to me, but I unfollow those accounts. I don't need that in my eye saying that, okay, I can even keep the green couch clean. Now, set a timer. Be intentional and stick to it. Time goes fast. And don't save activities to social media folders. I had done it and it does not work, because guess what happens each time? I have about maybe 50 folders in the beginning. I had such ambition. So I would see an activity, I'll save it to folder. Okay, this is math folder, language folder, cultural. I don't know. Do you think I ever went back into that folder and grabbed an activity? Never. You know why? Because each time we open our phone, what happens? Do you think we go straight to that folder? It's like right here. Oh, it's so convenient. My folder with my math activities I'm going to do with my kid today is right here. No, you open to your home feed. And what does algorithm what was it designed to do? To keep you on the platform. That's how Meta makes money. To keep you on the platform. And what are they going to do? They're gonna give you those dopamine hits so you stay. So trust me, I was guilty as charged. I had all the good intentions, and then I open and I end up in nowhere land. And then I look at the time and I'm like, oh my God, 15 minutes went by. Me scrolling for something that is not going to help me or is not going to help my child. So I found a solution for you. Are you ready for that? And that's what I do for the past 10 years. It's a system, but it also would require an extra step. So one, what are you going to do? If you see something you like, you screenshot it. That's simple. You don't save it to any social media folders. You screenshot it on your camera roll. And then at the end of the day, or I call it purge transfer once a week. I mean, every day will be ideal because then, I have way too many screenshots. So I try to do it daily. You go through the screenshots and I put them in folders on my desktop. And I have my folder for math. So this way I'm offline. So whether I have internet or not, I can always open that folder and it will give me a visual cue. I will know exactly what to do. Or better yet, you can print those screenshots, like little pictures, like not even 4x6, even smaller, like 4x4. And you're gonna get this weekly planner template in the masterclass guide, you're going to scan at the end of the masterclass, and you can literally print this and tape to Monday, whatever your screenshot. Okay, Monday we're doing math, Tuesday we're doing literacy, and keep it very visual on your fridge, just like you keep pictures of your kids drawing, right? So, but instead of just a blank sheet, you're gonna be very organized, methodical, and you're gonna have your little screenshots for each day of the week. Or if you would like to join me and follow a proven plan and method and join a community of amazing moms that are there for you, that want to cheer you on, then monthly kids activities plan give you exactly that. And not just for 1 week, you have a visual for the entire month. One, it makes it easier to prepare ahead. So for example, here you can see visually we have birds and amphibians and some penguins. I love to follow real holidays like World Art Day or International Bird Day. So it keeps it current, it keeps the interest ignited, because whenever you have a new theme, it sparks a whole array of new emotion and interest. So if you would like, beyond the screenshots and the printing and taping it to the planner, do join Monthly Kids Activities Plan. We would love to welcome you. This is what Amgi says. Anya is so personable and gifted at making learning simple and interactive. As a busy mom of 3, I love that AMCAP experience delivers ready to go. That's the word, ready to go. You don't need to plan anything, put together anything. Monthly activities plan with materials, lists, and printables. Just click, print, and play. So if you feel that little tug in your belly, this little like intuition, maybe it's time, because you know what? You were never ever meant to do this alone. And I struggled so much when I was homeschooling Adrian and Julia from not having clarity, from not having a plan. So one day I would be here, second day I will be printing some free resources that nobody cared about, third day I would be doing something else, and then at night I would be reading and deciphering numerous resources, articles, and books till like 5 a.m., waking up exhausted. My cup was empty, and I would scramble and start from the beginning, and that was exhausting and not very productive. So you know what I said? I said, I will develop a plan that I wish I had. And that's what AMCAP is about. Now, we had covered information overload. Now, let's move to the overwhelm. We're going to talk briefly about not majoring in minor, how you have to prioritize what you're going to do, and how you have to have a list of things you will not do. And this is important. And once I learned this a couple of years ago, it was a game changer. Because if you want to do great things, you might have to say no, even to good things. So what does don't major in minor means? It means that we tend to be caught up in teeny tiny details that don't matter or don't serve our purpose. So one, you must have a goal, a clear goal. And I'm going to take you through a little meditation exercise where we can envision your future goal. You have to avoid comparing yourself. I want you to be a racehorse with the blinders. And you have to simplify your process. Learn to say no to good things so that you have time to do great things. Okay, are you here with me so far, my friend? Let me know in the chat if you are. So we talked about being clear on your goals. So it is actually sad when I'm thinking about the statistics of how small a percentage it is of the population that does not even have a clear goal. So what ends up happening? They just keep drifting through life like a piece of wood and just going with the current. So whatever the current takes them, that's where they're going to end up. So there is lack of clarity, lack of direction, and they live by mere coincidence and luck. So it's not going to be you, my friend. You would not be here today if you were that piece of wood floating on the river. And you're going to be super clear and you're going to take action. How are you going to get super clear? You're going to write down your goals. Dr. Gail Matthew did a study and she said people who wrote down their goals were 42% more likely to achieve them. So, okay, when do we write our goals? Writing your goals is not enough, right? Because then anybody who wrote their New Year resolution would have achieved them. So what's happening there? What's in the way? We all wrote those resolutions, right? But what happens? We'll put them in a drawer and we never look at them. So you have to either look at your goals daily or rewrite them every morning. That's going to keep it very fresh in your mind. Or better yet, put your top 5 goals on a sticky note and put it next to your morning coffee, or stick it on your screen if you're, let's say, working on a computer, or put it on your whiteboard if you're homeschooling. Having those goals clear in front of you will ensure that you will follow through. Don't write those goals and put them on a drawer and forget to look at them till next December 31st, right? And there is magic in handwriting. So when you take pen to paper, and studies have been done, it's just not me making up stuff talking, there is something happens in your brain. So we have visual, we have tactile, we have kinesthetic kind of tactile stimulation going on. So more neurons are talking together when you actually write it down. So you have better chances of recalling it, encoding it, and then recollecting it. So if you think of learning something, one thing you just, it gets in, right? But how often do we hear something the next day we forget? Because there is no encoding. It means the information is not being filed in the long-term memory. That's why we forget it. Because why? Because it might not be useful. But by writing it down, it means it is useful and you'll have better chances of remembering it later. And I know we talked a little bit about the decision fatigue, and I'm going to show you an analogy. Think of it as a bank, right? So you made a deposit, let's say $100, and each time you have to make a decision, you take $1 and you take $1. So you wake up with $100 and then you make a decision. Do I wear pink sweater or blue sweater? Do I wear rain boots or do I wear shoes? What do I have for breakfast? Pancakes or oatmeal? Do I work out? Maybe not. If I do, what do I do? Yoga, go for the run? Do I go for the run now or after my kids go for it? It's too many decisions. By the time the evening rolls out, that deposit, that bank deposit is empty. There is nothing. And guess what? You cannot make a decision. So has it ever happened to you? By the end of the night, you're like with the family, okay, let's watch a movie. Okay. What do you want to see? I don't know. What do you want to see? I don't know. What about you? I don't know. 40 minutes goes by and nobody decided on anything. Has it ever happened to you? I know it definitely did. Because by the end of the day, neither of us had any decision-making capability left. Again, that is exactly why I had created AMCAP. So you don't need to decide. You don't start fresh every single day and open and say, oh my God, what am I doing today? You have a clear visual plan and a proven path you can follow to get you from overwhelm, indecision, lack of clarity to B, seeing your child grow happily while engaging with the environment and activities and growing in the process. Challenge number 2, FOMO, leads to that existential overwhelm. And what is FOMO? Fear of missing out, right? We think we're missing out on some event, networking event, or some party we didn't go to, or a new TV show. And that eats up on us. But I want you to reframe it into something very powerful. Instead of FOMO, I want you to replace it with JOMO. Because when we say no to things that don't align with our goals, we can make space and say yes to things that do. So think of it like that. When you go hang out with people you don't really care about, let's say it's again a networking event or a business meeting after hours, whatever it is, it's not required, but it's just everybody's going, so you feel like you're going to be left out if you don't go. If you say yes to that, you inevitably saying no to something else. No, like sketching with your kid, or maybe holding their hand and going for a walk, or maybe cuddling, under the blanket and reading a book. When you say yes to one thing, you inevitably say no to something else. And count your blessings. So if you have that nudge and you feel like, I wish I was there, and because we don't know what the result would have been. So it's this uncertainty. They're like, well, at least if I went, I knew it sucked, then I wouldn't feel so bad. I want you to count your blessings, because gratitude is as close to the enlightenment as we can get to. So if enlightenment is at a scale of 100, gratitude is up there at like 80. Be mindful, present, and remember, turn that FOMO into a JOMO, joy of missing out. And if overwhelm is still persisting, I want you to take action, because action brings clarity. When you sit in the indecision, that mountain of to-do, we're going to keep growing in front of you. And guess what happens, right? When you're overwhelmed, you don't make a decision at all. So I want you to take action today. So think of it as a pile of papers. You're going to take one paper, you're going to open it up, you're going to do it, and you're going to throw it behind you. And each day you're going to see that mountain behind you is getting bigger of things you had done, and mounting in front of you is getting smaller. And if it's safe, if you're not driving, I want you to close your eyes and think of the why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you waking up and going to work if you do? Or why do you choose to homeschool? Why are you breastfeeding if you do? Why are you co-sleeping if you choose to? I want you to close your eyes and think of the ultimate why. Again, only if it is safe. So we're going to quickly go through belief, vision, purpose, strategy. So belief is what you believe about your current situation. So you can either value hustling and working really hard, and kids are meant to be with a nanny or in preschool. Or you can value time with your child. I had given up my attorney career to be home with my kids, both of them. And then you have to say, okay, what is my ultimate vision? What is it that I want? And why do I want it? So again, close your eyes if you can, and I want you to envision this. It's a holiday time. You hear the music playing softly. You hear laughter. And then you feel this warm hug of your child, who's all grown up now. He or she came to visit you with their own kids, your grandkids. And you feel their hug, the warmth of their palm, their kiss on your cheek. And you know that you did not have to spend an arm and a leg on therapy, actually zero. You know that your child is doing what they love. They're not hustling for money or for fame, for success. They are extremely grounded, happy, capable, and doing exactly what fills their heart, their being. They're not doing it for external validation. They're doing it out of intrinsic motivation because this is what you laid as a foundation when they were little. You gave them secure attachment. You gave them your undivided attention. You gave them time. You gave them play-based learning. You gave them sensory exploration. You possibly even introduced them to some Montessori-inspired tactile materials where they learned real-life application, because all that built a very solid foundation for them to grow into happy, confident, capable, compassionate beings. Because if we want to raise compassionate, capable, peaceful adults, we have to start by raising compassionate, capable, peaceful children. So I hope that little exercise gave you a little goosebumps. I know it did to me, because that is my ultimate vision. We all want to see our kids happy. That's as simple as that. Happy. Happy with their family, happy with their work, happy as beings. So, how can we get to our vision, right? We need a roadmap, right? Would you make a cake without a recipe? Or would you follow a steak recipe to make a vegan cake? No. So one, you need a recipe, and two, you need the correct recipe. So not any recipe would work for your vegan cake. Or, you're here, I'm stuck in indecision, overwhelmed, there is too much, but I know my child needs to be stimulated. They need to learn through play so they can grow effectively. But how do I get from point A to point B? So let's say we are in New York and we need to get to California. What happens a lot of time, we go down to Florida, up, then we go to Mexico, up and down, zigzag, till eventually we get to California. But what happens by the time we get there? Our kids are all grown up. They're done. And I say, I know it might sound a little dramatic, I'm talking about 0 to 6, the most pivotal foundational years, because children are little only once. But trust me, if you do it once, if you do it right, once is enough. So how can you get to point A to point B? You need a map, you need a compass, or you need a guide who had gone through New York to California multiple times and knows, which pitfalls to avoid, which detours to take, and get you to point B as fast as they can. And this is where I would love to invite you to join our MCAP experience. That is exactly what it was designed to do, to get you from point A, from lack, scarcity, overwhelm, to point B, where your child wakes up and say, what are we doing today? I have hundreds and hundreds of testimonials of moms blissfully describing how naturally and happily their day unfolds. That literally kids wake up and say, what are we doing? That's what I'm talking about, intrinsic motivation, desire for learning, because we're able to tap into that natural curiosity. Because we either grow or we die, just like everything in the universe. We grow or we die. And as living beings, we all have this natural desire to learn and grow, and children are no different. So if you can tap into that potential and leverage those golden years of opportunity, you, my friend, are on a fast track. So I would love to be your guide and give you a clear and easy to follow map. Remember, easy, right? We're making it better, easy, effective, and I can definitely get you there faster. You don't have years to waste, my friend. And this is what Amy says. I tend to get caught up scrolling through Pinterest, and I get overwhelmed with planning. But AMCAP makes it easy and more enjoyable to actually teach my children. Now, we had covered information overload, overwhelm. We are on to the imposter syndrome. And that's our internal talk that says, that keeps us stuck. It's that little voice saying, no, 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 don't do this. You're not good enough. You're not qualified enough. Who are you? You're not smart enough. It's too early. It's too soon. Why does the brain do it to you? It wants to keep you safe. It's as simple as that. But if you follow, think of our ancestral friends for a second. There is a path, right? It's a safe one. It has been paved by senior tribal members. There are no lines in that path, but you keep walking it, right? They already gathered all the berries, all the roots. There is nothing else for them to do on that path. Yes, it's safe, but unless they go onto a new path and explore new territory, they're going to starve to death. So your brain would say, no, 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 no. If you turn there, we don't know what's there. It might be dangerous. The lion might be lurking there. You might get eaten. So my friend, you never feel ready. Remember, readiness is not a feeling. It's a decision. So we're going to stop focusing on your feeling and start focusing on doing. And you just pivot. You say, I know there might be danger associated with it, but I'm willing to bet on myself and I'm willing to take a chance. Because otherwise, you're going to starve. And also, don't compare. Think when you drive 100 miles an hour, right? So what happens if going that fast, you start looking at the lane next to you? You're going to crash, right? That's why racehorses, why do they have blinders? Because by not paying attention to somebody else, you can be crystal clear as to where you want to go and how fast you want to go. Also, I don't want you to take a picture of your life. I don't want you. I want you to live your life every single moment. So after this masterclass, I want you to step outside and if you can, look at the blue sky, if it's blue or if it's snowing or even if it's raining, take a deep breath. Have you ever looked at the absolutely gorgeous sunset? I'm fortunate enough to see gorgeous, gorgeous sunsets from my balcony. And each time I try to take a picture, I'm like, oh my God, this looks nothing like the real thing. And that's how life is. So don't try to take the picture of it and then compare to somebody else's picture. It's incomparable. Or the moon, if you try taking a picture of the moon, the same thing. I can never take a picture of the moon. So don't compare. Stay in your lane. The second you look to the left or you look to the right, you lose focus of where you need to go. And remember, grass is always greener on the other side because it's actually an optical illusion. So it has been proven scientifically because of the angle of how we look at your neighbor's lawn, the grass does look greener, but it does not mean that it is. So stay in your lane and don't compare. And remember, two thoughts cannot occupy the same brain at the same time. And I remember the first time I heard it, I'm like, no, I have 100,000, not 100, at least 10 thoughts talking to each other at the same time. No, it's just we're switching between them so quickly, but it's only one thought at a time. And it takes only 4 seconds for a negative thought to take root, and only 30 seconds for a negative thought to hijack your entire nervous system. So choose on purpose. Remember, one thought at a time, one thought at a time. Make it a powerful one. Make it a thought that serves you. And if worry, anxiety, overwhelm creep up, lean into gratitude. Just count your blessings. And it doesn't need to be something complicated. It can be as, I have peace. We are not in a war zone. I have enough to eat. I always say my grace for my sheets. I don't know why, especially when I go to sleep at night, because I make my bed every morning and I fluff up my pillow, and I use a lint roller for my sheets, and then I spray it with essential oils. And so it's immaculate and flat, and there is no crumbs, and my pillow is fluffed up and it smells so good. And I lay at night and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for my sheets. Can anybody relate? And remember that you have to keep showing up. You have to keep going, even if fear creeps up. Because again, it's your brain's defense mechanism. It tells you, no, stay safe, go back. So get it going. If there was one thing that you were stuck on, like you were waiting for this perfect moment, or that fear told you, what if you screw up? Oh no, you're not ready. I want you to get it going, because think of it. You are teaching your toddler. You have 10% competitive edge. You're not teaching quantum mechanics or organic chemistry to Harvard students, for God's sake. So I want you to let me know in the chat if you are ready to get it going. I'm going to drop it in the chat. Get it going. You don't have to get it right. You just have to get it going. Remember, action brings clarity. Indecision keeps you stuck. And I love this quote by Nelson Mandela. You never lose. You either win or learn. So failure is not a failure. It's feedback. So again, back to action. You must play the game. You must stay in the game, even if circumstances are pulling you away. If that imposter little voice tells you, oh my God, you're screwing up again, you have to stay in the game, because it is a long game. Because the only thing that guarantees failure is failing to try. And if you see little progress, again, know it's a long game. Have you ever driven along, let's say you're going to work and you see this like digging hole, and you keep driving past and it's just hole, and all you see, it's like it's all covered, and you have construction vehicles, workers, they're working, and you see nothing, just this hole, right? And it's like days and weeks, and then one day you drive by and you're like, oh my God, where did this building come from? It takes that much longer to build a solid foundation than raise a skyscraper. Because if the foundation is wobbly, that building's going to collapse. That's why just because you're not seeing progress does not mean that the progress is not being made. Just like with your little one, you might be frustrated. You're like, but we've been doing numbers for like, I don't know, a year already, and I see little progress. Just because they don't enunciate or you see little progress does not mean that their little brain is not wiring it. Little progress does not mean they're actually encoding and learning. And finally, time constraints. I'm going to show you a quick tip how you can gain 9,125 minutes a year. Are you ready? How can you find 25 minutes a day? Screenshot it. This is powerful. 25 minutes a day will equate to 9,000 years. I'm going to go back to that slide. $9,125 a year. That's 19 full-time work days. 19, that is almost a month. So I'm going to gift you 19 work days. How can you carve or free up the 25 minutes? Stop reading the news. I feel like it's propaganda. If something is really important, I'm going to find out about it. Or wake up early. Hey, 25 minutes is not going to make or break you. Trust me. I make a conscious effort to get up 2 hours early. So yeah, 2 hours is a little harder on your body to adjust. But hey, 25 minutes is not going to break you. I promise you. Or stay up later if that's your thing. It's not mine. Or stop spending extra 30 minutes checking random social media. Or keep a log. Be very conscious. How much of the time do you actually spend on social media? Or actually better yet, check your screen time. I'm telling you, you're going to be in shock. So cut the time down. Unload gaming apps. I have zero. I did not grow up with any video games. And I'm happy I'm not missing out on anything. And if TV is a culprit, is like pulling you into the wasted time that does not serve you, unplug it. And it doesn't have to be like forever. Oh my God, forever. No, unplug it for 20 days. As long as it takes for you to make that shift. Or batch out the content. Meaning, don't prepare a lesson each day from scratch. Say, hey, I'm going to spend 1 hour and I'm going to prepare for the entire week. And have a little basket with activities for the week. This way, you're not scratching each day. You're not starting from scratch each day. That goes for faster. Double down on what works, meaning utilize your strength. If you're really good at presenting language, do more of that. But even if you think you are weak in math, again, you're not teaching quantum mechanics or algebra. We're teaching 1 + 1. Time constraint. I'm going back to you can spend less time planning and more time playing if you trust me and you let me do the planning for you. I'm going to gift you at least an hour each day between you searching, pinning, looking for it, putting it in a folder, preparing, organizing, if not more. And that will equate to a happy, confident child that has to grow within that golden period of the absorbent mind, which Dr. Maria Montessori defined as the years of 0 to 6. Remember, children are little only once. But if you do it right, once is enough. I know we talked about the perfectionism. It goes into that imposter syndrome. Because we say, oh, if I cannot do it 100%, I'm not going to do it at all, because it gives us an excuse not to do it. It's as simple as that. We say, oh, if it's not perfect, I'm not going to do it. So it keeps you safe. It doesn't let you venture to the new territory because you don't think you are ready. But guess what, my friend? You will never be ready. Nobody is ever ready. All you can do is take small, consistent steps, and they will compound. Consistency compounds. Even if it is 5 minutes a day. You know what I say? If you don't have 5 minutes, you don't have a life. I'm sorry, my friend, some tough love. If something takes 5 minutes, whether it's a breathing exercise, whether it's a walk. Today, I was supposed to do a 40-minute run. I was supposed to do sprints. I did not have time for that. My Julia had a meet. I had to drive her at 5:45 a.m. to the meet. So I didn't have time to do a 40-minute run. Do you think I didn't do it at all? I did it. I did it in 5 minutes because I say if I don't have 5 minutes, I don't have a life. So I just did 5 sprints very hard up the hill. And that's it. 5 minutes and I call it a day. So if you cannot spend 15 minutes with your kid, okay, 15 minutes, it's a stretch. 5 minutes. But guess what happens? when you start something. And if your time allows, you catch momentum. So I want you to DSD today. Let me know in the chat if you're gonna DST. You're gonna do something today that you've been sitting on the fence. You weren't stepping on the game. You were just watching and calculating and telling yourself you're not ready, or that little crippling fear telling you, what if you screw up? What if you mess it up? You're gonna choose one thing that was keeping you stuck, and you're gonna do it today. Whether you're gonna set up a simple sensory bin, just throw some cereal and their favorite toys, especially if you have a mouthing toddler, that will help them. It will eliminate any possibility of choking hazards if you have non-edible items. Cereal and their favorite toys. And here is your sensory bin. And how long would it be? 45-second setup. And trust me, I would guarantee that would happily play there for 15 minutes. And think about it, progress over perfection. So that 5 minute will compound. So in a week, we are almost up to 35 minutes. And I bet you when you start, you say, okay, I can do 5 minutes. You will catch the momentum and it might extend. And remember, there is no overnight success. So don't think like, oh, I did something, yesterday, so should see results tomorrow. No. Although in spring, we see these beautiful tulips pop overnight, literally. You wake up the next day and you see, they're out of the ground. Guess what? Guess when they were planted? In the fall. So it took how many months for those bulbs to sit and nurture and get the nutrients before they can be awakened to flower in the spring. So don't look for instant gratification, overnight success, because there is no such thing. And 1 hour a week, if you do 5 minutes a day, 5 to 10 minutes, that's 1 hour a week, will still get you to the finish line faster rather than doing nothing. And to combat the imposter syndrome and fear of failing or inadequacy, I want you to keep a little journal and every day write one thing that worked. It's called your winner's journal. I want you to celebrate every small win. Can you imagine opening up a journal at the end of the year and seeing 365 wins? Do you know the confidence it's going to give you? A quick overview, my friend. We are done with our challenges. We covered all 5, and now it's time for you to decide. Are you going to do nothing? Fine with me if that's your decision. But make sure that when you don't decide, it's a decision anyway. You can do it alone. You can absolutely do it. There are plenty of books. Hey, libraries are bursting with books. Or if you want to get from A to B faster with the community accountability, let me help you. I love this proverb. It says, if you want to go fast, you might go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. So type in the chat, alone or together. It's time to make a decision. So you can either stay where you are, again, no judgment here, it's judgment-free zone, or you can do something so you change and you grow. So we learned today how to make your homeschooling better, easier, effective, and faster. You will scan it in just 1 second, a guide, masterclass guide with everything we talked about, most of the things we covered today, plus the chart about the sensitive windows. So you will know exactly when you can narrow in on a particular area or skill. It's all going to be in your guide. You will also have a QR code to fast track your homeschooling right away. I am sharing my favorite DIYs that will cost you almost nothing to make, but these are highly effective to nurture one of the core of your child's developmental needs. So this in particular is sensorial. Again, you're going to scan a QR code in your masterclass guide at the end of the masterclass with the exact tutorial on how to make each. I explain exactly how to tackle Montessori practical life activities such as zipping and bow tying frames. And I show you how to make a super easy CVC, it's called consonant vowel consonant, for early learning and blending. Again, all this is in your masterclass guide. And remember, just like when we saw the construction site and we haven't seen a lot of progress, if you change the vantage point, how you look at something, you might see that although you're going in circles, if you look upward as a 3D spiral, you will realize that you're not going in circles, but you're going up. And my friend, if there is one thing that you take from today's masterclass, I want you to take action. I want you to DST and make it be an imperfect action, because less than 20% take action. They translate what they learn into application, because information is not enough for the transformation. And again, thank you so much for the time you spent with me today. Now, this is an official invite to join the AMCAP community. You will get the calendar for the entire month. This is how the Members Hub looks. It's not just one piece of paper. So you have the entire library of activities explained to you in form of ebooks. I keep it very simple, very visual, so you know exactly what to do each day. So it's not just one sheet of the paper. You can go to Members Hub for details. Teresa saying, I'm stay-at-home mom of 2-year-old and I'm always searching for meaningful Montessori activities. So AMCAP is Montessori inspired, but on a budget. So you are not required to purchase any expensive didactic materials such as Pink Tower, Brown Stair. I have a DIY version for anything that I present in AMCAP, most of it. If you join today, you will receive basics, how to start Montessori today. It's called Montessori Basics course. It's not a prerequisite. You can follow through at your own time, and it will be included if you join today. Also, you're going to have access to our private Facebook group. To me, it's invaluable. And every month we gather together for our monthly member live Zoom call. And that's a total value of $446. But if you join today, you have to screenshot this, because AMCAP right now is closed for general enrollment. But if you join through this scan, you can use code webinar20 and save 20% on a lifetime option. So AMCAP is a membership. You can go month by month, or if you want to eliminate the decision-making process and say, hey, I'm going all in, I'm committed. It's one payment and you are set for the rest. You don't make another payment. Again, you have lifetime access to the course. And if you are brave enough, remember, courage comes before confidence, you can save 20%. Okay, you might say, okay, I don't have time to do that. Remember, if you don't have 5 minutes a day, you don't have time. It's too expensive. When you break it down, it comes down to like 49 cents today. What if it doesn't work for me? Well, you have money back guarantee. I know this works. I have hundreds of testimonies that it works. So you are protected by the money back guarantee. This is what Charlotte says. Love the calendar. You're so appreciated. beyond happy to have found you. This is what B says. B became a lifetime member because she was struggling to figure out what she should teach. So now she does not have to figure it out anymore. This is Wendy. She's so happy she has a guide to her day. Again, she spent too much time online searching for at least one activity. Remember, we're doubling down on one activity, not 5, not 10. One activity a day is enough with your child. I'm telling you, 10 minutes a day is enough. If you can maintain the eye contact, if you can maintain the attention, 10 minutes a day of one-on-one undivided attention can equate to half a day in a preschool when the attention is scattered and the teacher, the guide, can barely even contain them. You're going to get all these fun bonuses. I'm not going to dwell on them. So this is for you if you want to save money on materials, save time planning, nurture the absorbent mind of 0 to 6, and reduce screens. Yes, I want you to have more time doing what you love. I want you to have a clear path you can follow. Think of a roadmap that gets you from A to B. You're going to have a community because remember, information alone is not guaranteeing your transformation. And I want you to move from ease to overwhelm. This is not for you if you're looking for a magic pill or you're not willing to do the work. I cannot jump through the screen to your home and homeschool your kid. No, I can hold your hand virtually. I can check in with you. I can inspire you. We can hold you accountable, but you have to do the work. So if you're not willing to do the work, sorry, that's not for you. Or if you're not involved with children, you don't have children, you're not planning on having children ever, you don't interact with children, so that's totally not for you. Or you're just okay with missing the golden age opportunity, that's totally, it's your decision. So that's not going to be for you. If you want to see how our members are learning, scan this code. I have hundreds of activities done by my members as seen through their lenses. And this is Katie. They love the activities, and her 2-year-old especially adores sensory bins. With MCAP, every Wednesday is a sensorial activity. So either refining one of the senses or a sensory bin. The activities are organized a month in advance, and you can gather supplies ahead of time. The material and supply list is available on the 18th of each month, so you get a little extra time. Again, scan this code, webinar 20, and you can save 20% off. If you don't want to follow a life calendar where you have to do an activity each day, because MCAP is a life calendar. You saw we follow real holidays. You get a calendar current, like now it's February 1, the new calendar just came up. So if you want lifetime access and you want to have a library of activities that don't expire and that you can follow on your own term, I also have courses. I have strictly Montessori and thematic, like you can see here, spring, spiders, seaside, frog, insects. Again, webinar 20, and you get 20% off. You get lifetime access. And what my members do, actually, they do both. They have a monthly kids activities plan where they do one activity with their kid. There is some accountability. They have to do it within a month. They have a community that checks in on them. We constantly have challenges, so it's super fun. And they also purchase courses, let's say if they want to refine one particular area, or they would like to have an arsenal of more activities at their hands that they can use far and beyond the MCAP. So the choice is yours. Now, let me see if we have any questions. Oops. So Megan is asking, how long do I need to prepare? So I mentioned that on the 18th of each month, you get your supply and material list for the following month. I try to keep it extremely light, require very few. A lot of them are optional because I also provide a play print pack. that you can literally print and use a printable instead of the material. For example, for February, we had rose buds pegging activity. But instead of you purchasing fake roses, I provided a printable. So I would say to prep might take you 1 hour for the entire month. So you literally hit print, you print the entire play print pack in one sitting, and you set up a few trays, and that's it. I would say 1 hour for the entire month. Okay, my sweet friend, I want you to know that progress, even if it is slow, it is still progress, and I am cheering you every step of the way. And remember, you would not have a dream unless you already had everything inside of you to make it happen. Remember, dream big, dream in full color. Dreams are free. And let me see who is the winner. The winner is Mary Ann. You can email me at montessorifromtheheart@gmail to claim your gift card. Okay, are you ready? Have your phones ready? Let's scan. This is your exclusive guide, your masterclass guide. This is where you will find the go-to recipes. Okay, are you ready? Now, this is the colors playbook. Take a screenshot of that. And here is our exclusive Valentine's pack. Again, screenshot, take a picture, and enjoy your Valentine's with some hands-on activities. And remember, nothing is impossible. If you have willingness to do, if you have passion to follow, and a desire to follow through, everything is possible. Okay, my sweet friend, I'm so grateful for being here with you today. I'm so proud of you for showing up. You are amazing. You are enough. Take a second to appreciate with so much love. And I'll see you on the inside.